guys, it's Lanie here. So today I'm going to be cooking nuiga, which is also known as macaroni chicken noodle soup. This is my son Leon here. Say hi, Leon. So if you guys like this recipe and you have any questions, leave your comments below and I will try my best to answer them. And if you like my channel, you like my recipes, please give me a thumbs up. And then please subscribe to my channel, guys. Thank you for all the love and support, and you guys have a great day. Okay, so the ingredients you will need for this chicken noodle soup is I went ahead and prepped everything and chopped everything up. That way it will be easier and quicker, but if you want to buy chopped up vegetables, that's fine too. But what I have here is a whole chicken that I have already cleaned and dried, and then we are going to stick that in our pot of boiling water here. I'm going to add some salt to that, and then we'll stick the chicken in. But I have about 5 carrots here that's chopped up. I like mine a little bit thick just because whenever it cooks and we take a bite into it, I want it to have a bite. So that's why mine are so chunky. I like chunky vegetables. If you don't, you can chop yours a little smaller. I have about 3 stalks of celery that I cut into pieces like this. Again, mine are big and chunky because that's how we like our soup. I have a half of a yellow onion here that I quartered, and then 3 cloves of garlic that has been smacked that we are going to put in the stock also. I have about 1.5 cup of elbow macaroni here that we're going to boil, and then I have salt, pepper, chicken stock, and cilantro for the garnish. So I will show you guys how we will make this. It's simple, it's easy, and I have a pot going over there for my noodles also. There goes our chicken. Alright, so during this time, I'm going to add our onions into the broth so that it will give it a good flavor. And my garlic. This is what's going to give the broth a really good flavor. So right now I have this on high. We want this to boil and we want the chicken to cook. So it's going to cook about a good 45 minutes to an hour. I want my broth yummy and good, so I'm going to keep it there for a little while. Once I poke the fork into my chicken and the juice comes out clear, we'll know it's done. And then we'll take out the chicken and start shredding it, and then I'll finish the rest of my broth. So while my chicken is cooking, I'm going to start boiling my noodles. And when I boil these noodles, I'm not going to have it too soft, and the reason why is because I want the noodles to be al dente, and al dente is pretty much meaning it's not, you know, softly cooked, but it's just the right amount of texture. It still has a bite, chewiness to it. That way, I'm going to put it in my soup. And I know a lot of people may not put their noodles into their soup, but I do. It's because we're going to serve this today and we're going to eat it today. If it's something that you're going to eat for the next 2 days and you want to have leftovers, the best thing to do is serve the noodle and the soup separately if you prefer that. But I throw in my noodles with my soup and then we serve it, and we pretty much finish the whole pot in one night. So that's what we do. So what I went ahead and did is I added 2 spoons of kosher salt to my water. That way my noodles will be nice and seasoned. And I have my fire on about medium high, and once that gets to boil, we will go ahead and dump in our macaroni elbow noodles into our pot. Okay, so the water's getting nice and boiled. I'm going to go ahead and pour in 1.5 cup of elbow macaroni noodles. Get that mixed in there. Just stir it around a bit, and we're going to let this boil for about a good 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. I usually like to take my noodle out and test it and see if it's done. And then once it's, you know, al dente, right before it's fully cooked, I'm going to go ahead and drain it and leave it to the side until our chicken soup is done. So now my noodles are done. I can just tell by looking at this, it's nice and puffy. And so I'm going to turn off the heat, and then we are going to drain this, and then I'm going to rinse it a bit so that it stops cooking, and then I'm going to set it to the side and wait for the chicken soup to be done. Okay, now the chicken is done. I went ahead and put a fork into it, and the juice comes out pretty clear. So that's how you can tell when chicken is done, especially when it's boiling. So I'm going to take this out, and we're going to put it in the bowl here, and then I will start the rest of the soup. Alright you guys, so I have taken my chicken out of the pot. I'm going to let it sit in this bowl and cool off a little bit before we start tearing it apart and putting it into the soup. But over here in my broth pot, I added about another 2 cups of water in here so that we can have our soup more liquidy. So I'm gonna let this boil a little bit, and then we're gonna add our vegetables and some more seasoning to this, and our soup will be done pretty soon. Alrighty, so while the chicken is cooling off, I'm going to go ahead and add the carrots to our pot here. Because the carrots take a little bit longer to cook, we're going to go ahead and throw them in ahead of time. This soup is so delicious, you guys. You know, where I live right now, it's not really cold, but you know, in the mornings it's been like 60 degrees or so, and then it's the kind of weather that makes me crave soup, and my family loves soup, so this is why I am going to start cooking this. And then, you know, this would be something we eat during the fall weather and throughout winter, and it's easy and it's cheap, it's fast, it's convenient. You can also do this with a rotisserie chicken too, guys, so that way you don't have to boil your chicken. You can basically buy you a rotisserie chicken, shred it, and then substitute the broth for chicken broth, and that will make it easier and quicker. And you can add whatever recipes you like, but like I said before, we like chicken, so we're gonna do chicken. I have also done a spare rib one before, and that, like a pork spare rib, and that was really good too. But when I went to the store, the chicken was on sale, and I didn't have anybody to cut my pork rib at the store at the time, so I went ahead and grabbed chicken. So you guys can do either one, but yeah, it's pretty good, it's pretty easy. And now we're gonna have our carrots cooking, and we'll let that cook and let it get a little tender, and then we'll throw in the celery, and I'll add some more seasoning to this. Mostly it's gonna be like a little bit more salt, pepper, and some chicken seasoning, season according to your taste. And then I made a bowl of Nick Mum here, which is Vietnamese fish sauce. And then I just added some Thai chilies to it. And then if anybody likes their food salty, they can just add a couple of spoons of that. But other than that, I like this chicken to be, you know, naturally good, seasoned. And so we don't want to make it too salty because everybody's taste buds are different. So now I am deboning my chicken, pulling all my meat apart. That way we can throw this into our soup. Earlier when I was taking my chicken out, it was kind of a disaster. I guess next time I'm just gonna have to use like a bigger pot. But since I figured that I'm just cooking a small pot for my family tonight, I didn't need to have anything big, but my chicken was so big. Next time, mental note, lesson learned, use a bigger pot. Look at all that chicken. Alrighty, all the chicken is now in. The carrots are starting to look a little tender. Let's see here. Alright, carrots are nice and tender. Went right through the fork. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add our celery. This soup is so nice and vibrant and colorful. It just, you know, makes it feel like fall. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and mix in my celery and my chicken. Look at that, guys, it's so delicious. Alright, so I'm going to add about a spoon of my chicken seasoning. And I'm going to add a spoon of the salt. Remember, I have added salt to my chicken earlier and to my water. And we don't want to over season this. Again, I have that fish sauce with the chilies inside if anybody wants to make it spicier or saltier. But I do have kids eating this also. So we don't want to make it too spicy and too salty. So I'm going to try this. That tastes delicious.
Can you turn up yet?
Yeah. Okay. I am going to add another spoon of this kosher salt. And another spoon of the chicken seasoning, and it should be good. It was seasoned, but it needed a little bit of something. And I think that should do. And if somebody wants to eat a little bit saltier, they can add more salt, they can add more pepper as needed. Just, adjust it according to your taste. So right now, I'm just gonna let my soup come to a boil, and we're gonna turn it down a little bit, let it simmer, and get the vegetables a little bit tender, and then it'll be ready to serve. Okay guys, so the soup is done. Look how yummy and beautiful this looks. The vegetables are nice and tender. Our chicken is shredded, it's cooked. So right now, I am going to add some of the macaroni noodles into this. I'm not gonna add all of it just because my pot is so full already. Next time I just know to use a bigger one, but I'm gonna add some of my noodles in here. I might add all of it if it works, but if this starts to overflow, I'm gonna cut back some, and then I'll just add more as we eat it. Alright guys, so I scooped my soup out. Look how yummy and hearty and warm this looks. I like my food salty, so I'm going to go ahead and season mine with some fish sauce and some chilies here. And if you like, you can give this a squirt of lime. I'm going to throw a little bit of cilantro on top of this. And then anytime I eat any kind of soup, I always have some satay. And basically satay is like chili oil. And if you eat Chinese food, you know what I'm talking about. This one over here has ground chili with fried garlic. It's delicious. So can't go wrong with this if you like spicy food. I'm going to throw that on the top. And just because I am extra, I'm going to add a little bit of this TOGARASHI seasoning that you normally see people who make sushi add this to your sushi or whatever it is that you eat at a Japanese restaurant. Basically, it's chili pepper, and it's delicious. This one I got at the Asian store for like $1.99, and I'm just going to sprinkle that a little bit on top of my food. And if you guys like this soup recipe and you want to see more, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you guys soon. Thanks guys, have a great day.